Probably downstairs, buddy. You guys will have to give me a minute. I'm trying to change the name of the thing here. I don't do this often enough to figure out what the heck I'm doing. Channel. Figure out.
Now this is Daddy's favorite song.
Edit. Alright. Hey, I've changed
Alexa,
it.
play Dad's playlist.
You guys don't need to hear all that nonsense. Neither do I, actually. Anyway. As you can see, I've changed my little dude here. My avatar. Anybody in this stream yet? No. I'll start with a different course first. Am I still streaming? Hey, I'm still streaming. What you know about all that business? If anybody jumps in, say something so I know you's her. Because right now I ain't got no idea if nobody is her. I'm going to start off playing some else other than, can I watch myself here? One viewer. Yes, that viewer is me. Anyway, I am now going to play a couple oldies, but one of them will be the one that won the U.S. Open contest, the first one, and I figured it's the least I could do. I pulled out of the new contest here. Just, I don't know. I've got so much crap going on right now. I do not have the time to give it a really solid effort, and it was eating sleep away and just causing some problems. So we're just going to skip that for now. I can show you, I had a couple of things going here. I actually had, well, none of those. This was a plot I started working on. This was one that I started in Swiss just to give it a shot. Elmview is the one we're going to go to shortly. This was one I had started to work on. I kind of dig where this one is going. Anyway, but we're going to start off. I switched to playing the pro clubs, specifically because the distances with the pro clubs are more in line with what was available back in the day. I'm going to change the conditions here because the these were all designed to be quite firm and quite fast. So we may as well go with that. And when you bring it over a legacy one, it doesn't bring over some of those settings. See if anybody said anything in the forums here. I'm going to guess no. And I am correct. Anyway, this is Bison Run. This is one that I had trouble publishing at first because you can see there's a lot of grasses in that. And at the time in TGC, the initial one, like all this used to be grass too. I had to delete a lot of it. But in the initial TGC, I couldn't get it to publish. And it was more of a server thing. And back in the original TGC, these fairways were about, I mean, this was plenty wide. Now this may be considered a little narrow, but that's okay. I'm going to guess the course, the way it plays, still holds up okay if you're using pro clubs. The visuals probably won't. It's probably going to be a little rougher around the edges than what we're used to now. But hey, that's what happens over time, right? We all get better, we all learn, the tools get better, and everything works out. And like I said, if anybody decides to pop in, go ahead and say, hey. In fact, who is here? Nope, just me. Well, it's okay. I'll stream to myself for a little while, and if anybody wants to watch this later, they certainly can. They can see what we were doing back in the day of the original game with the old tools and that kind of thing. No, this golfer is not what I look like in real life, but, you know, I just thought he looked more like my avatar on the TGCT forums, so I went with it. And it worked. This hole caused some consternation in the original TGC because this carry, this forced carry, if the wind gets into your face, can be a little rough. Alex, are you ready for bed, bud? Okay, so go ahead and make sure you get yourself in there, okay? And I didn't say I'd play these courses well, just that I'd play them and give us all kind of an idea where we were and where we came from. I feel like there are some trees missing here. I thought there were more trees on this. I may have come in and started to mess with it at some point. I don't know. Anyway, I remember there being more shadow on this green. But when I initially did this, I sent the file to Andre, and he published it as Canucks Cow Pasture because he was able to get it to publish after he deleted the clubhouse and a few other things. I could not. It took me forever to get this to publish after I made it. But it was worth the wait because it really played quite nicely. And you can see kind of in these early courses, we were really trying ideas, trying to figure out how, you know I want this to be part of a course. How do I make that happen? Like how to get, this is one of the first courses where, trying to get the bunkers to have these raised fingery edges in here along the water. That wasn't being done very much when this one first came out. So it was just a matter of trial and error to see how to make things work. I may have turned the firmness up too much. Although I will say one thing that I can't recreate when replaying these is the way the balls would run out on the greens in the original TGC. I mean, you'd hit a green and it would just go forever. So especially, maybe not as much on this one, but on Elmview here shortly, you will notice the ball is going to sit down a lot faster than it did in the original TGC. But you guys have never, anybody who wasn't involved in the original TGC to play these has never seen these courses before, really. So I figured, if I'm not going to update them and publish them, I may as well stream them, especially the US Open one, just with the contest going on. I figured that'd be a nice thing to do. This par 3 I always liked. like this was something new. Just this, the sculpting here, this kind of sculpting wasn't being done a lot at this point in TGC in the original one. I don't know that it had been done very much. So it was really still all trial and error and trying to figure out the tools. And it worked out okay. This course always played well. I like this one because one of the other things I was doing on this one is using bunkers that weren't in play, because this wasn't happening very much either, but using them to be visually intimidating. There wasn't a lot of that going on either. Everybody was just throwing bunkers on the left side and the right side, right down the middle. Now you can see on this course there wasn't as much strategy with width was not a big thing yet. The architecture geeks hadn't really come along. We were all still kind of learning what we liked. We had an idea of what we liked, but it didn't always translate terribly well. So we tended to stick to the things we knew. I did like this green, the long green with an awkward approach angle. But again, if you were to want to port this one over, I would have to do significant work to it to make it really match the game as it is today. First thing I'd have to do is get rid of some of these clouds. My goodness.
It's cloudy. It's super cloudy, guys. I can't see where I'm going.
And since nobody's watching the stream right now except for me, you guys can all go screw yourselves. I may have bitten off too much here. Nope, it'll be fine. Like for instance, this shot. This bunker here is really not in play. But I was just starting to play with ideas of putting bunkers in places that looked like they were in play when they really weren't. And again, that wasn't happening very much. There was a lot of bunkering, and guys were doing a good job, but using it as a visual cue wasn't happening a whole lot at this point. And if somebody from the old days wants to correct me on that count, they certainly may. If nobody jumps in by the time I want to do Elmview, I may do one other one too. Oh, I remember this hole. I like this hole. I remember liking this tee shot quite a lot. Now, I didn't do this in TGC 2 either. So what I did is I pulled this from 1 into 2 and then straight over to this when 19 released. So I haven't really played this with any of the new physics or anything like that. At this time, there were no splines, there were no toggling of secondary textures. This was all lay in your fairways through shapes and then lay in the rough using shapes around the fairway. And just do your best to try and make it match up. So there's a little, you're going to see some waviness to it. I forgot, this course was actually entered as a contest course. It was a contest run by one guy, Taste GW. And he judged it all by himself, and had a very weird judging way. And I ended up winning, and in second place was a gentleman who, if you're not old school, you wouldn't know, but named Biggins. And the one that I beat was the Shakespeare. Hang on a second, guys. What? Um, you like that with the fish bones? Here, wait. You gotta look at my mustache. Got a handlebar mustache. It's pretty cool. Ah, I can't see my mustache. Never mind. What time do you need to get up? I don't know. Up at like 6:30 or something and get ready. You'll be all right. Good night, babe. That was my oldest Victoria. Sorry, not my oldest Victoria. My oldest daughter, named Victoria. I do not have more than one Victoria of varying ages. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Somebody joining the stream. Who is it? Who's watching? Oh, look at you guys. There are some folks. These are not, just so you guys know, these are not published courses. These are courses that were done back in the original TGC, the golf club, and were brought over, but I have not updated them or redone anything. Just so you guys know, before we had retaining walls, this was the only way we had to make retaining walls, using bridges and then putting columns underneath it. There were no retaining walls, and that was the only option we had. But what I was planning to do tonight, in honor of the U.S. Open contest going on, was I'll play the winner of the original U.S. Open contest, which I did, called Elmview Golf Club, and I'll do that here shortly. But this is one called Bison Run, which was done way back in the day. And unless you were in the original golf club, you've never seen or played this one. But if anybody has any snide comments, by all means make them, for they are enjoyable. Well, that was really the only way we had, Ryan. I mean, that was it. There were some guys who did a better job. There's one coming up on hole 11, I think. No, it's further towards the end. But yeah, we didn't have a bunch of different clubhouses to choose from. Here, if I can. I mean, we were pretty limited on what we had to deal with. There were no... Hang on, I've lost where I am. You could create your own shapes, but, I mean, no splines, no... nothing. It was fairly bare bones. But that's okay. We all learned. This is how we figured things out. This was, countryside was kind of a new theme at this point. So there weren't many countryside courses, which is why in the particular contest I was talking about that Taste ran, several of us used countryside. Now I will tell you, Biggins found a secret. And that secret that has been used since was that the default countryside rough is brown enough that you can use placed heavy rough around it and make it look like a worn walking path. And it was very cool. What hole is this? Oh, yeah, I remember this hole. Okay. Yeah, because I split the fairway down that way. This was kind of a cool hole, too. And again, at the time, having fairways this narrow, I mean, this was normal. TGC just was a different game. It was a lot easier. And I'll say again, so people know, I'm using pro clubs right now simply because the distances are more in line with what these courses were designed for. They were not designed for people driving the ball, 300 yards in the air. So I'm pulling a PGA. We're going to make you use wound pelota balls and persimmon. Oh yeah, I remember this one. This is a par 5. I remember making this and really struggling with the water line. Why? I don't know. But I liked that tee box tucked back there where I had it. Second shot into this hole is quite fun. But this will show you where we all come from anyway. Because there's a nice runoff down there. Bunker on that side. The next par 3 is kind of cool. And then you'll see that retaining wall there. I think that's hole 15. This hole 14 goes back the other direction. The wind going to bring that back at all? Nope, it's just going to run right out. You'll also notice some single shapes in the greens. It wasn't that you couldn't do more than that. I just really liked some of the shapes, so I used them. There was a lot of that back in the day. We took the shapes we had and we ran with them. I have noticed too that the lighting is so different than what it was in the original TGC. But you can see even back then when we didn't have... Actually, you know what? I think multi-plant had just been given to us when this course came out. Like I was almost done with it, and they gave us multi-plant, and I went back and added some grass. I think that's how it went down. If I'm wrong, Andre, show up and correct me, would you? Oh, that's too long. Ooh, that's way long. That's what a fast swing will do to you. Oh, it's going to catch the slope and run all the way down. So be it. That is fine. Who's here now? We're still getting... We don't have a lot of the old school guys in here yet. You guys are all newer guys, aren't you? Anybody from back in the original TGC days here? If so, raise your hand. Be proud. Yeah, that's what I remember. 14 goes back the other way, and it's a very short hole. But you have to take a chance if you want to get over there. But why not? It's not like I'm playing for any reason, right? Ooh, that's too far. See, even these clubs, though, go further than the TGC ones by a little bit. Trying to make it as close to a TGC 1 experience as I can, but there's just no way to do it with the new physics. So here, Ryan, you'll see the retaining wall in all its glory. It actually looks pretty cool. I'm not going to do a flyover here. But this was how we had to do it. We had to take those bridges. You know, it's not working. Hang on. I'll wait till I get up there closer. Ooh, that's a bad swing. That'll work. Fast forward it up there. Now we had to take all these bridges and string them together and then come back and use the posts and trying to get a smooth angle. I mean, there are some of these where there's like 12 of them just to make one turn. And I had to go back in and delete a bunch of them. But it does make for kind of a cool look. And it's something you can still do if you really want to. Maybe using the snap function now, that might actually be easier. Now hey, Ashley, yeah, you would remember this one. Now this is Bison Run. We're going to get into I like the last few holes on this course. I think it's a good closing stretch here. We're doing some oldies, buddy. I was hoping to get a couple folks who had played Elmview before in here before we do it, so I might do one other one too, since it's going pretty fast. This hole gave people fits in the old one because it was right in between clubs, and when the ball hit, I'm just telling you, if you guys don't remember, when the ball hit the screen in TGC 1, if it had hit right there, this comeback here, no. It would have gone up over the edge and off the right probably. It's too hard, isn't it? Nope. Not hard enough. I thought that was going to come up the other side there. Yeah, there was still a lot of experimentation at this point. But this hole I liked because, again, it was so easy to control your ball. Depending on the wind, you either went up here or you tried to carry it over the edge. We'll try and carry it over the edge, see if we can. Oh, yeah. No? Oh. Well, there goes my confidence. Right out the window. Ooh. Now that actually should kick up. Well, nope. I don't remember this green as well as I thought I did. Oh, it actually runs back. That explains that. But I do like hole 18 on this one. The drive is okay, but the second shot I remember I really liked. With the and the driving range over to the right. Let's see what we get. That's blind tee shots and up and over. It is narrower than I recall. Honestly, all the original TGC courses are narrower than you recall, just because that was how they played. It was super easy to hit the ball straight, so that's what we did. Yeah, I remember the second shot here I really liked. That's too far. Yeah, this was a new theme. We had a couple new toys to play with. Not retaining walls yet, but we definitely had some different things we could do. Anyway, that is Bison Run. Let's see who else has joined in here, or if we lost somebody. I think we actually lost a viewer. That's what we get from me being kind of a tool. Bison Run is done. We'll see what's next. If you guys just like hanging. Oh, look at that. I got some new clothes. How awesome. Then I may do one more before we do Elmview, just because, like I said, I wanted to have a couple of the guys who had played Elmview before in here. So what are some old ones that I have that I haven't done anything with? Quarry Creek was original TGC. Borthwick Bay at McKinney Highlands was TGC. My wife just was trying to call me there. Hang on a second, I'm gonna... Well, no, I'm not gonna do that. The Rookery was TGC. Reebdu Cove was TGC. Columbia National was TGC. Isla Resaca was TGC. Anybody play any of those previously and have a favorite, or have one that they'd rather play? Anybody? If not, I'm going to make a decision. And we are going to do... And we're going to do Borthwick. Boulder Point was not mine. Boulder Point was CLV's, and I was redoing it a little bit for him. You can see how long ago that was. A year and a half ago he sent it to me, and I just never got around to actually doing too much with it. I got through a few holes, but didn't finish. But no, I'm not playing his. Screw that mess. What's wrong with you? Boulder Point. Sorry, CLV, you're my friend. Columbia National, huh? Do you remember what Columbia National was? Columbia National was actually a reskin of oh, hang on a second, guys. I'm going to mute myself and talk to my wife. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm still here. Columbia National was Swindon Downs, which was like the third course I ever made. Actually, the second and a half course I ever made. And I reskinned it in Boreal, but when you flipped it to TGC 2, all the trees changed, which was kind of a mess. But we will certainly do Columbia National if that's what you want. Oh, let's do that. Let's change the conditions again. Actually, that works fine. And I would change these, but if you recall, back in the day, we could only do one tee and one pin at a time. So there's no sense screwing around with that nonsense. Columbia National. Now this one's going to look a little rougher than the last one. Hang on, I got to make sure that my voice is coming through. It is. Good. And I will tell you that these trees are not the trees that were here in TGC 1. When I flipped it to 2, all the boreal trees were different. I take that back. The trees were the same, but their location was different on the wheel. And so it changed what all the trees were. So this is not what this course looked like initially. But this was originally done in the the Links theme. We had just been given the Links theme, and so I wanted to make a Links course and created Swindon Downs, which was used for... Was that used for the British Open? No, I think it was a qualifier that year. But again, it was one of the first real Links courses that came out. And these greens cost people fits, which was exactly what I wanted them to do. So that worked out okay. But then later in TGC, I took it and reskinned it. When they gave us the Boreal theme, I made whatever, the dumb Old Beaver Creek with ADX. Made that with him, and then I liked the theme so much I said I wonder what else we could do with that. So I took a couple of old courses and flipped it, and this was one where the flip actually turned out pretty good, and I had to make quite a number of changes because we didn't have any there was no ocean front in Boreal, obviously, so ocean simply became ravines and rocks and a lake in one point. And this one was reachable in on Swindon Downs simply because I didn't have as many trees to deal with. But the course still plays pretty well. It doesn't look all that great. It's pretty rough around the edges, but plays okay. It would need a full facelift if we were to bring this one over today. I did earlier play Reebduke Cove. And honestly, that's one I think I could take that one and make it 2019 ready fairly easily. Do some expansion on the greens and a few and on some of the fairways, and I think it would work out pretty nicely. I'm not going to, but I could. If somebody else wants to do it, I'll send it to him. If CSU wants it, I'll send it to him. I gave him Quarry Creek at one point, and he worked on it, and then the file corrupted on him, and he's like, "Oh well." Like I have his hidden links I was going to work on too, but we both kind of decided, yeah, let's just move on to new projects. So we did. Who else is in here now? Any of the old guard in here yet? Energizer's in here. He was around with Ashley back in the day, weren't you? Back in the TGC original days. Boy, when this course first came out, I was so proud of this bunker down here because we had just gotten those shapes, and I was like, oh man, cool. So I took out the bunkers I had for Swindon Downs and threw that bunker in, and now I'm like, yeah, that's stupid. But, you know, it is what it is. Like I said, it still plays okay. Just looks like penis. I think I would definitely change the textures too, which was not something we could do when I made this course. The textures on the theme were the textures you got. And if you didn't like them, that was simply too bad for you. Are there any other shows going on right now that I'm like bothering? I don't care, I just was asking. Oh, that's not going to make it.
Oh. Right in the bunker lip. That's terrible. It hurts me wee willy wonkies.
Well, that ain't going to work. Let's see how bad this is. Straight up in the air. That was my driving wedge. Doesn't everybody have a driving wedge? If not, you should. That didn't move what I thought it would do either. That's what I get for speed golfing, isn't it? I'll tell you what, regardless of who shows up after this, we're going to do Elmview. So the folks who are doing the U.S. Open contest, like I said, can see the one that won the first time. Now, Elmview, we actually did have retaining walls. They were a brand new toy, and we were all trying to play with how to do them. So I did them on Elmview, and I used double and triple walls in places. People were like, wow, how'd you make it do that? And I'm like, well, you use like 3 walls deep. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. And we're in 2019, and that is still the best way to do it, which does not speak terribly well. I mean, you would think there would be a way to where when you put a retaining wall down, you could just choose a 90-degree option, you know, to just drop the ground straight down so you don't have to use multiple retaining walls. Alas, when you wish upon a star, it won't get you very far. And when you write to H.B. Paul, he'll say, that's great, but I can't do it at all. I made a poem. It's very hard to be witty by yourself. May I just tell you that? The people who stream by themselves, good on them, man. It's a lot easier when you have another voice that you can play off of. Especially when they're dumb. Which is why I like to stream with Eric.
Shh, don't tell him I said it. It's a secret.
Well, oh, yeah. Well, look at there. I done made a fast swing.
I made a fast swing and it hurt me.
Worst chip of all time.
In a world where one man chips like his wife, who's never played golf.
I take that back. When my wife and I first got married, I took her to play golf twice. And I've never seen anything like it. But she, and I am not making this up, she literally would swing and hit the ball. Okay, most of the time she'd hit the ground. But when she would hit the ball, she would yell like a kung fu movie, "Hi-ya!" And it didn't matter that I said, "Hey, dear, you really shouldn't yell "Hi-ya" when you hit the golf ball." She goes, "Well, okay, I'll try." Line up, hit again, "Hi-ya!" I was like, why don't you just stay at home, and I'll just come out here and enjoy some, the nature. She also is quite fun to scare. You ever sneak up behind her and she doesn't know you're there, she literally will turn around, look you full in the face, and recognize that it's you, take in the biggest breath you've ever seen, and then run in place while screaming. Like, it is a process. It is not just, "Oh, you've scared me." It's like turn, look at you, like while running in place. Yes, it is Hong Kong Fui. This is true. When I talk about everybody was kung fu fighting, she was definitely part of the crowd. I mean, surely not everybody, but definitely Elizabeth Jeffords. She was there. Mm. These oldie courses, they still play okay, but man, they just need some work, don't they? Some tender, loving care. But again, we cranked them out a little faster back in the day, too. I had time. Didn't have my 75 children, as Michael Flood would say. There is one other cool thing that we did on this one when it flipped from a links course to Boreal, and that's coming up on hole 13, I think. Just a little wetlands area. I hadn't really ever done one of those until this. Yeah, that's not good. We'll make this one go quickly so we can get to Elmview in a minute. Because that was really the course I wanted to do in the first place. Okay, my wife will get home here in about 20 minutes. And like, will you come help me? I can't, honey, I'm streaming, sorry. These bunker styles, the way these bunkers were laying into the ground, the way they lay in the ground. There we go. Up here, this was something that some of us were just playing with at this time too, just trying to get the pot bunker look right. And really, Biggins was doing about the best job of it at this point. But I still see Biggins around, but he's not playing golf. He's playing Europa Universalis, whatever that game is. Some real-time or turn-based, I guess, turn-based strategy games. Seems to be big into those. Oh, that's not going to make it.
Dag nabbit.
Or as G-Dog would say,
Barbara. Oh, Barbara.
anybody else show up here? No, man. Our crowd, it goes up and down and up and down. Positivity Bot. That is the greatest name, dude. Just so you know. Well, we're not going to be able to carry that. Oh, yeah, we will. Well, maybe. We got 11 miles an hour in our face. Let's do it. This was a fun par 5. I enjoyed making this one way back when. Hey, it worked. Here's that wetlands area that I told you was kind of a new thing to play with. Trying to figure out how to do it. It's kind of a swampy little spot. Worked out pretty well. Now see, when Swindon Downs, when this was originally Swindon, back behind here was ocean. So this sucker just dropped off into oblivion. But there's no ocean in Boreal, so that's not an option. Hence all the rocks. I'm like, what can I do to make this look like it's the end of the world?
I know, rocks.
I think this may have been when we got the ability to place rocks too, now that I think about it, because that was not originally something you could do. Like rocks just showed up. Yeah, because originally this one was over water all along the left edge. Not possible in the Pacific Northwest Boreal area here, which is not really, but that's where I had in my brain where this was like in Washington or something. Now turn back the other way and go in the hole. Thank you. So different. What do you mean by so different? Different than you remember, or different than any of the new stuff? Because again, you got to remember, all the trees and everything changed. All the grass changed. Everything changed when I had to bring this into 2 in order to get it to 19. Everything went. So this was not how it was originally supposed to look. Different to what you remember. Oh yeah, I'm sure. How do you remember it? Is it one of those, you know,
I was just a child and everything had this golden glow around it.
seemed more wide open, didn't it? Like back in TGC, you would have played this and said, oh, look, these are very generous fairways. And, oh, I mean, the lighting was totally different. Everything about it would have looked different. The ball would have run out differently. Fairways would react differently. Like that, what just happened there would not have happened, in my opinion. More forgiving. Absolutely, it's more forgiving. In one, like there, that ball would have rolled clear off the green. That would have been gone. And I will tell you that if you, on this course in TGC1, if you were down here and the pin was right there, good luck. You had little to no hope of getting it near that thing. It's absolutely more forgiving. It's a totally different course now, which is why, you know, all these ports, I just don't want to port over a lot of things. Like I said, Reebdo Cove would move over pretty well. I could get Elmview over. It would take some work, but I could do it. I started working on the rookery and I got a couple of holes in and I'm just like, this is not worth it at all. Like not even a little. Is that going to get over there? Yeah. Oh, come down off the hill. I will tell you too, like this next hole, I don't know if you remember, but 17 in the original TGC was a bear. More so on Swindon Downs than it was in this reskin. It was an awkward length hole. You were using a metal wood. The ball didn't stop. You actually had to land it short of the green in order to skip it up onto the green, which is why there's this fairway here. And there used to be a bunker there on the right too. On Swindon, there's a bunker right here, I think. But yeah, you had to land it short to even have a prayer of keeping it on the green. Now, let's see how this works. And that's still going to run off. But I mean, in one, there was no hope at all. That was downwind, so it doesn't surprise me that it went all the way through. Yeah, that's more forgiving, right? More forgiving chips. I mean, the course design is still fine. It's not like it suddenly became bad. They just don't translate very well. Turn, 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 turn. Oh, yeah. This green caused a lot of people some anger, too. Oh, fast. Oh, that'll be fine. Oh, nope, that was going to run off. Still runs off, just not as fast. There were a lot of pins on this one that were right up on top of knobs. Which, putting a pin on top of a knob does in fact make you into a knob. Alright, it's time. Let's hit up Elmview. And through Columbia National. Now it's Elmview time. The original is open. Contest track. You know, Eric, stop telling us all about your dumb party. Nobody cares. Everybody's watching me. Nobody's watching your crap. Here, in fact, I'm gonna get on his stream and tell him that, and he's gonna like it. You watch. I'm gonna do it. Somebody's sending me a whisper. Oh no, that's an old one from Eric. I don't care. I don't care about any of that crap. Shut up, Eric. I'm gonna get over there and tell him. Hang on. Idiot. Original U.S. Open winner. What gives? Stealing my viewers. Turd burglar. There. We'll see how he likes that. I'm gonna guess he doesn't like that at all. And sorry if you hear his stream in my ear. I'm gonna listen to it for a second and make fun of him. There, we'll see what he says. Anyway. Oh, they're laughing now. All right, I'm leaving his stream. He can stick it right in his butt. All right, so this is Elmview. This was the original when they had a U.S. Open contest. This was the one that won the first time here. Does anybody remember playing this? Anybody here in the stream who was there back in the day and remember playing this at all? If not, that's fine. But we're going to give this a go. Oh, and this wind is going to make it fun right off the bat. All right, let's go. There is nothing fun about this particular course design. This one was made specifically to anger people. They requested that it be difficult without being tricked up. So that's kind of what I did. If anybody played any of the ones in the original contest, most of them, and this is not, please, this is not me saying, oh, I did it right. A lot of them were just tricked up. I mean, that's what it was. It was, you know, I'm putting trees all over the place. I'm, you know, making the fairway 5 yards wide. Or you could just hit the top of the pin like that. That works. I decided to go a different direction. Length was definitely used on a few holes. That first hole caused a lot of fits to people. The approach on this shot is the hard shot. The drive is usually not the thing that would get you. But the approach on this one would. Yeah, especially when you have to go over a tree. Now, here's the thing. One reason that a lot of these side hill lies, you'll see them on some of these old courses and then nobody cared as much. They had no impact at all. When you took your swing, being on a side hill lie did nothing. It still went, you know, wherever you were aimed. Didn't matter. Now it makes a difference. But fences were kind of a new thing here. We had fences and steps and everything that you see here. These were all new things. So this was playing with new toys here, guys. All these walls and everything. Oh gosh, that wind is going to make this hole interesting. Turn, 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 turn. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's perfect. See, there's the retaining walls. This was the first time that we had retaining walls to play with. And I remember seeing them and going, oh, this is going to be fun. And then I put it in and was like, well, shoot, I got to double it. So I doubled it. And then in another place, I was like, well, crap, got to triple it. So that's what we did. Oh, I forgot about that false edge. Oh, I bounced right over it. This course hosted the U.S. Open that year, and I think that the winner was minus 36 after 4 rounds. So it held up okay, because minus 36 to the best guys means that it still had some teeth. Oh, crap. Although I'm going to kick myself for putting those 2 gazebos back there till the day I die. I don't even remember why I put them there. Just, oh, I'm putting gazebos back here. Who the crap is going to put 2 gazebos back there in the shade? Like, oh, I don't know what we do. Let's put these back here in the shade. Moron. Oh, is that too far? Nope, the wind held it up. Hooray. Oh, the covered bridges were a new thing, too. So this was all playing with new toys. Oh. You'll also notice at the end of this one, there's a road, but at the time we had no roads. We used sand and bunkers to create roads. There were no cart paths. There was no cart path tool. None of that was a thing. Oh, this hole was a lot of fun back in the day. I wonder. Nope. That's going to hit it dead center. Dead center. Oh, we'll get a good kick. Really? You're just going to sit right there on top of that little hill? Okay. Oh, stop. This pin was wicked. Wicked pin. Like on the side of 2 mounds. And in TGC 1, if you missed that putt, it went like it would turn around and come back. This hole was also very difficult in 1 because at the time, length, I mean, you really couldn't stop the ball at all. Unless you were in a 13-mile-an-hour headwind like we are today, in which case you could. Yeah, I should have clubbed up and done a partial shot. Well, that was dumb. I'm going to blame the designer. Whoever made this course. It's his fault. It's her fault. It's probably a girl. Probably a woman. This hole was also, this was a bogey hole for most people because 487 yards in the original game was way long. This was normally like a 170-yard approach shot, and today, oh, it's going to go in the bunker, isn't it? Well, we'll see. But this is probably going to be like 140 something. No, 150 something. And the pin is on this mound over the left. And trying to hold that green from there was very, very hard in the original game. Very hard. As you can see, it just slopes away from you almost instantly before coming back. I liked the back 9 on this course more than the front anyway. But again, this was the home of the US Open. Which is why I'm playing it. Just in honor of the contest that's going on. This was another place where we were just trying some new things. Using the steps to create a little path through there, kind of just, you know, prettying things up a little bit. But again, a 495-yard par 4 in the original TGC. When I made the members version of this course, because this was the open version, the members version, this played as a par 5. Sit down, sit, 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 sit. Or hit the slope, go all the way down. There you go. Bye. That green was designed in such a way that in the original TGC you could play it way over to the left side of the green and it would roll all the way around to the right if you hit it on a low enough trajectory. And most people were hitting 3 irons and woods into this green, so it worked out that way most of the time. It plays as a completely different course now. But we still had some pretty shots. Oh, don't go in. This wind is making this hole brutal too. Because see, this is one where when you're here, you don't even see that water, and then you're like, oh crap. But the angle of approach on this one was the difficult part to it. The big runoff and stuff. Oh. All right, let's try a partial. Skip straight. Nope. Off to the left. So I did like this clubhouse area on this one, though. It was nice. Again, you'll see the paths were a completely different thing. We didn't really have the same kind of paths you do now. But this was kind of a little trophy presentation area. And a nice little gazebo up there with steps was pretty cool. Let's do this. All perfect. Or not. Unperfect, if you will. Oh. Throw that club. I'm going to have to go over to Eric's stream after this, his damn stream, and be like, you guys are jerks. Yeah, see here, this was original retaining wall, like before anybody knew what we were doing. And at this point, it was just put 3 of them together as best you can, and you can see it doesn't look right here. It looks better in one than it does now. This hole is gonna suck. See, when you get over here, this tree gets in your way. It's really designed to play slightly differently. And so that's what you end up with. That's okay. We'll get around the back. We'll finish up Elmview Golf Club, the Open Edition. At the time, using the still fresh countryside theme. This hole was the first time I really started to try some centerline bunkering. But again, the way the ball ran in the original TGC, well, I ran through it this time, but there, I mean, it would have gone forever. Oh, I think I did a neat trick down here with the retaining wall. Yeah, this was, we were first figuring out how to use retaining wall as bridges too. See? Well, hey, I will take that and run. This hole, see if we can do it. Oh, I think we made it. Oh, don't go too far. Oh, that one gave you a big angle to cut off, but man, it was tight. This course would be fun to play for folks in 19, but not with the master clubs. It would just be, I mean, you'd just overpower it. It wouldn't be, I mean, it'd be a drive and pitch half the time. A lot of the carries wouldn't make any sense. Like this hole would be, I mean, you just cut this corner and it'd be no big deal at all. Unless you had a 14-mile-an-hour headwind like this, in which case it would still stink. This was one that was not designed to be reached in two. This was a 3-shot par 5. If you had a good tailwind, you could occasionally get there in one, but it was still difficult to pull off. But it was a pretty hole. As you can see, I mean, we could still make good-looking stuff back in the day. It just was a little rougher in spots. Played differently. I mean, it was designed for a different play style. You had to use you had to have runouts on the greens. Like you couldn't make a green that sloped front to back at all. I mean, you just could not do it. Even with a sand wedge in your hand, I mean, it would just run out. Oh, I liked this little par 3. This was one that this was very simple, but was a very cool little hole, and had some cool pin placements when you get the one there in the front, and then all the way in the back too. That should be okay. We'll come back down off the hill. Go in the hole? Nah. That's how that one was designed to be played. This next hole is going to be much more difficult. Well, I take that back, but still hard. The other thing too is the trees, when they went to these speed trees, they're a little wider in spots, I feel like. I could be wrong. That's sand. Get there, get there, get there, get there. Nope. You see what I'm talking about there with the sand that we had to use, the different pathing we had to use. And like, see, there was bunkers I was using for driveways. And back in the day, they all blended in and looked fine. Now it looks like a child's finger painting. I thought that would roll more. Yeah, well. I'll tell you what, to the guys who shot under par on this one in the original TGC, they were killing it. They were playing lights out. There were times you'd start playing this and you'd pick up a shot, and then there was just no way. This was my homage to the 10th at Riviera. Didn't always work out the right way, but that was the idea behind this hole. I just saw that 10th hole and I liked it enough, and I'm like, let's do a riff on that a little bit. Not a copy, although the green is pretty close. With the bunkering on both sides there. Ooh, yucky. The next hole is a par 3 that also caused a lot of consternation during the Open. It was one where you really had to choose your landing spot because that ball would just take off and go. And you had to make sure that it was going to go where you wanted it to go. It was a weird game back then. You had to play not just to a spot, but you had to play to a spot and then as though you had a putter in your hand, even off the tee. Like, what you would do is you'd play a draw into this so that you would get the ball running right to left. Yeah, it's not going to work in this game, but you'd get the ball running right to left. It would skip, and then it would run around up to the edge there and around the corner. Like some of the contours you see on greens now, you couldn't have done back in one. And then in 2, they turned them down in a very weird way. And then in 19, I think they got it just about right. As far as the way the greens bounce and roll. The putting has changed a little bit too. I liked 18 on this one. I think if I had it to do over again, I would get rid of this first fairway here entirely. And well, no, I'd probably wrap it down, get rid of this tree, wrap it down here, expand this bunker. But again, it's a different game now. I wonder if you could carry this. I'm going to guess no, but you got to try, right? Bounce. Run, 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 run. Ha, ha, ha. This was also the first time that I remembered seeing in the game the this kind of a look here. And again, retaining walls were pretty new, but it was just something that I thought was kind of a cool thing to try at the time. Now that should run out to the right. Or skip forward into the bunker. That's good too. That was my Donald Trump impression.
My fellow Americans.
The state of our union is deviated septum. Anyway, that is the Elmview Golf Club, the Open. And that is the one that won the original U.S. Open contest back in the day. That's all I got. I just figured I'd share some old stuff that you guys had no access to. Why? Again, just with the contest going on, I thought it'd be fun. And I was hoping to get a couple guys in here who played it back in the day, but who knows, maybe they'll get on the stream later and look at it. As it is, I got to play and I got to talk, and those are 2 things I enjoyed doing, one of which I do better than the other, and I'll let you decide which one that is. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. I'm going to go bother Eric and yell at him and pretend like it's entirely his fault. Thanks.